Salut, привет, как дела? Shalom, and welcome. I just want to do quick question and answers because I got a lot of responses to that video. Just to clarify some points because I think I wasn't clear on certain things that I said, or maybe things I said were interpreted a little bit not exactly how I wanted. So I just wanted to get into some of your questions or your replies, okay? And the first topic, like, did Israel do it? So I guess a lot of people are on the fence, especially after Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones all came up and said, oh, Israel didn't do it. They didn't have anything to do with it at all. Why doesn't make sense for them to kill their own guy? I don't know. I think, in most cases, a lot of cases, like, you're taken down from within. It's usually your own people who take you down, especially if you're, to suggest that it's not possible when all of a sudden he's to say he's not anti-Israel. I mean, he's saying a lot of things that could definitely get the current Israeli government replaced, and maybe that's what he's doing, and maybe that's what we need to kind of look at it as. Maybe there's more than one Jewish faction. Do you know, like Benjamin Netanyahu isn't just playing like the game for Israel. He's playing the game for Netanyahu, right? And if you think that there aren't other factions of Jews that would like to take his place, come in and and replace him and throw that guy in jail or have him killed and another Jew take his place. Like, if you guys think the Jews are all just united and there aren't like multiple factions of Jews, I could tell you firsthand that when I was at the synagogue, I went to a conservative synagogue just for a few years. Whenever the Chabad Lubavitch came to the synagogue, with brooms in hand, the women would chase out the Jewish Chabad Lubavitch. They were not welcome in the synagogue. Okay? They were literally violently thrown out by the women of that synagogue. That's what they thought of the Chabad Lubavitch. So don't think for one second that there's just like the Jews are all united and the Jews, it's like, well, we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later, actually, with the siege of Jerusalem and what happened there. But let's look at the first comment. Okay, so I totally disagree with all of you. This is from Severus Floki, pagan guy from Quebec. And so he totally disagrees with what we're saying. Such a bad hill to die on. No evidence points towards this. Well, I'm not sure I'm willing to die on this hill. Were you saying prior to his death that he was based and red-pilled? Absolutely not. I think he might have been more than based and red-pilled. I think the guy worked for Trump. The guy rides on Air Force One. The guy's best friends with Donald Trump Jr. I mean, the things that guy probably knew. Like, we think like Charlie Kirk wasn't in the club or anything. Like, come on. Multi-millionaire. He eats dinner with these people. He vacations with these people. These are, like, in my opinion, like the evilest people who walk the earth. And we have to, like, get real here. If you're still like, oh, the left wing, oh, the right wing. If you're playing this left wing versus right wing game, and even the Bible as Christians, it says, don't go left, don't go right, straight is the path. Do you know? Like, if you can't see the game that they're playing, and understand something, the Trump supporters of today are the liberals of the 90s. So when we talk left-wing liberals, the liberal mentality, in fact, the liberals of my time, the Democrats of my time were more right-wing extremists than Trump supporters are today. They're moving the post over, right? President Bill Clinton was almost impeached, kicked out of being president because he cheated on his wife. That's how, now I'm pretty sure Obama was married to a tranny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the things that the liberals are pushing today is so insane, that my time, the president cheated on his wife. He was almost impeached and maybe gone to jail for it. Like, that's how strict Christians and people were in the 90s, right? You can't be president if you cheat on your wife. Now, and who cares? Anyone could be president. If they had a trans black Jew amputee who identifies as an attack helicopter, that person stands a high chance of becoming president next. But meanwhile, in my time, you had to be married with kids of good standing, good record. You can't even cheat on your wife. You lose. You can't be president. Things have changed. So I don't know how much Charlie Kirk knew, but all I know is that guy rubbed shoulders, ate dinner, vacationed, was best friends with the most powerful people in the world. Oh, he's just a nobody, low-hanging fruit. He doesn't know what's going on. There's a reason why he wouldn't openly debate Nick Fuentes. There's a reason why he's not going to openly debate people on topics like the Holocaust. He's not going to do that. Why? He's not a stupid guy. You think he hasn't heard the Holocaust argument yet and went, wow, there's actually not a lot of evidence to suggest the Holocaust happened. The entire Holocaust is built on testimony from Jews. Jews and Germans with guns to their heads. It's not like nothing. The Holocaust court case, the Nuremberg trial, it would all be thrown in the garbage in any legitimate court. All these statements are done under protest and duress, and there's only hearsay evidence based upon what the Jews say. There are no autopsies of bodies. There were no tests done on the gas chambers. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard for you to debunk. You can't burn that many ovens with the amount of ovens they had. Anyways. Okay, what's there for Israel? I just don't see it. They would have killed Nick J. Fuentes, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith. Instead, if they wanted to shut critics up, all this assassination does is radicalize the right. Occam's razor, he was killed by Antifa goons. Well, the thing is, the problem with that is when you look at the evidence, if I would believe you, I would say, man, tu as raison, j'ai tort, I'm so sorry, je m'excuse, je suis désolé, ouais, tu as raison. Mais ça, c'est pas le cas. It's not the case. Okay? And d'abord, je veux que tu saches que ça me fait vraiment plaisir que tu continues de regarder mes vidéos. Ça veut dire le monde pour moi quand mes compatriotes québécois me suivent puis me soutiennent. Okay, merci beaucoup, man. Well, surtout quand vous n'êtes pas toujours d'accord avec moi. Even when you guys don't agree with me, I'm really happy that you're still sticking around. Okay? But en ce moment, je veux pas dire que tu as raison et que j'ai tort. I don't want to say that. Because the evidence doesn't line up, And so, ça se peut que ça soit le début de quelque chose de plus gros, quelque chose comme ça, okay? We'll see, But this could be big. And so, if we had a clear-cut FBI investigation, okay, here's the killer, he walked in, he had a bag, the rifle was in here, he took his position, he took his shot, the shot, matches where he was, okay, he was here, the bullet entered there, here are his cell phone records, here are his movements, we have him planning this weeks in advance, ... and it all checks out. Okay, man, tu as raison, you're right, man. Okay, je suis d'accord avec toi. Great. Case closed. Like these true crime videos you watch on the internet where the detective, oh, look, we found a cigarette butt. And then, oh, let's run the DNA. And now let's follow that guy. And, oh, we follow him. And look, that's the same vehicle that was described at the crime scene. Oh, my God, the killer looks the same. Oh, my God, his cell phone records match. Oh, my God, he's got a underground basement killing lair. Okay, here are the weapons he used to kill. Do you know what I mean? Like one evidence goes to the next and then it all just comes together like a beautiful, there he is. We got our murderer. We don't have that here. Nothing makes sense. Where the bullet entered, where the bullet came out, the caliber of the rifle that they're saying he used a 306. Are you crazy? That's what a 306 does to a head. That's what should have happened to Charlie Kirk. That didn't happen. So it's obviously a very small caliber weapon, and for me, it hit in the back of the neck, which is a very communist thing to do. The Bolsheviks were known for shooting people here. Okay? And then you've got this bozo who lifts up the chair, okay, tampering with crime scene, moves the chair, and now what is he doing? He's removing a camera. That camera would end our discussion. I don't have to talk anymore. You don't have to talk. The camera would speak for both of us. Gone. Why isn't there a nationwide manhunt for this criminal and this guy's not in jail? Who is he? What's he doing? So I would say you're right, man. You're right. If we have a clear-cut investigation, evidence here, this is the killer, we can't even agree where the bullet came from. I didn't even know people are like, it hit here. This is where it entered. It's like, what? That didn't look like, even the way his body fell, it went in the direction. Do you know what I mean? The bullet pushed him in that direction. So, and then taking apart the rifle. So the guy took apart the rifle, brought it in, put it together, took the shot, took it apart, ran away with it, put it together, and then threw it in the woods. Look at how long it takes this guy to do all that. Do you know? Like, look at that. Look, he's still going. Oh, and I sped it up too. It's like double the speed. Oh my God. Look, he's still going. And now he's got to put it. Okay, he's got to put it in the bag, guys. He's got to put the rifle in the bag. Oh, there he is with the rifle. So, you want to tell me that some Antifa goon, oh, we got the guy. Netanyahu's even like, yeah, we got him. We got him. If Netanyahu was like, guys, this evidence doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. Something's wrong with the FBI's investigation. He's like, no, we got him. Ben Shapiro, we got the guy. It's okay. Really? Are you guys serious? All right. I'm the dumb one. I'm the dumb one. Oh man, oh man. But it's okay. We got. Where did it go? Let me see. Don't worry though, guys. Because Nick Fuentes agrees with you guys. Disagrees with me.
Wake up, guys. Some of this, I'll be the first one to say, the conspiratard schizo thing, it's getting a little out of control. And that's coming from me. I mean, it's like we are truly through the looking glass. When Charlie Kirk is assassinated, people blame Israel. I, who fought Charlie Kirk because he was pro-Israel, am being said to, I'm being said to be covering up that he was killed for this miraculous conversion. If Ben Shapiro was taken out next, and God forbid, would Israel be behind that too?
That's a stupid comparison. Like, you've got a white American Christian guy speaking Christian values, who's now, accused Netanyahu openly. Guys, you want to say small criticism, like Severus Floki, you said, small criticisms. Was it limited hangout, mild criticisms here and there?
Wake up, guys.
I don't know how you can say that. The guy openly called Netanyahu. He didn't just say, like, it's a conspiracy theory. What I'm saying isn't conspiracy. It's fact. 6 hours for the Israelis military to react to October 7th. Either the soldiers were told to stand down. The whole country is the army. Anyone who's been on that border knows that Hamas couldn't have done that, right? And who puts a music festival there at that time, the same day, the same time Hamas plans this attack, and then the Israeli army just can't get their shit together, and it takes over 6 hours for them to mobilize, when it's like, Charlie Kirk's like, 45 minutes, guys, for me to get to Jerusalem to that border. where it's just full of teenagers with machine guns and snipers, army tanks. Like, you're right. It's there's nothing funny there. Nothing funny when the guy, he's criticizing the president, literally called him out, either said you got corrupt people in your government or you are corrupt. That's what he said in that comment. Either Netanyahu was behind October 7th, that's a hell of an accusation, or you got guys in your government who were behind it. Either, and he's also saying that you're also, if you were either behind it, or you're an incompetent leader who can't run your country and you got people on the inside working against you. That's what Charlie Kirk said to Netanyahu. That's it. So, and then that same guy, Netanyahu, jumps on, oh, God, it's a terrible day for America. How do you compare killing Charlie Kirk, a guy who very well could become the biggest threat to Israel? Okay? Not that, again, I spent my whole life fighting Charlie Kirk. I don't like Charlie Kirk. I still view him as a traitor. But I would have viewed the Apostle Paul as a traitor too. The Apostle Paul was a traitor. I would have viewed Moses as a traitor. And yet God uses traitors in the most amazing way to become the heroes in the story. Where the Apostle Paul started off killing and hunting down Christians, and then he became the Christian of Christians. And ended up dying for the cause. Being the greatest fighter for Christ through his treason. Mind you, this is the difference between Paul and Kirk. The whole argument rests on, did Kirk know? The Apostle Paul wasn't killing because he was part of a cabal. He was killing Christians because he genuinely thought he was doing the right thing, is what the Bible teaches. Paul was righteous and zealous for the traditions and laws of his people. He wasn't doing it. He wasn't, like, if Charlie Kirk was in the club, which I think he was, like, I don't know. I know that Israel's treason is so bad right now that you can't even defend it. You have to say something against them, right? So anyway, so yeah, Nick Fuentes, wow, like, Israel's not behind it, and same with Alex Jones.
For this miraculous conversion.
But to compare killing Ben Shapiro, Orthodox Jew, like, when Ben Shapiro, I'll give Nick Fuentes this. When Ben Shapiro stands up and starts saying, so October 7th was completely done by Netanyahu. We need to investigate Netanyahu and the entire government because it doesn't make sense for 6 hours to have gone by. Hoy vey, this is crazy. So if Ben Shapiro starts mentioning that, and if Ben Shapiro starts saying, we cannot go to war with Iran under any cost, America cannot go to war with Iran. Okay, Ben Shapiro, you're starting to make some sense here. And then if Ben Shapiro gets on, it's like, oh my God, I'm being attacked. They're calling me, Ben Shapiro of all people, an anti-Semite. Who's defended Israel more and the Jewish people more than me? And if he starts saying the things Charlie Kirk was saying about Israel, and then he gets killed. Okay. But watch, let's see what Ben Shapiro says. Let's see if Ben Shapiro is going to start picking up that bloodstained microphone that Charlie, we're going to take your place, Charlie. Let's see if Ben Shapiro does it. It's a very exciting time. I can't wait to see. Will he continue the work of Charlie Kirk and start criticizing the hell out of Israel? Time will tell. Right? So, if Ben Shapiro starts criticizing Israel and then gets a bullet, because in my opinion, I think Charlie Kirk had turned, and I think the Jews are in such a desperate position right now that it's like, if they can't afford to let him keep talking either. They can't afford, killing him wasn't good either, and he still defended Israel, but that's assuming that Israel's one united faction, that there aren't multiple factions. Do you know? Like, during the time of Jesus, during the time of the siege, the destruction of Jerusalem, when the Romans and the Jews were at war, there was a three-way civil war inside the city. The Jews were not all together. They have their Jewish factions, and they fight for power within their groups. right? Charlie Kirk very well could have been with these Jews, right? Some Jews want a third temple. They want the Messiah to come back. They want all this religious stuff. And guess what, guys? There's a whole sect of humanist, atheist Jews who don't care, don't want that. They don't want the temple. They don't want blood animal sacrifices, which is insane. They don't care about the Messiah. They don't believe in that stuff. There's a huge faction of Jews. I'd say most Jews don't believe in that stuff. So even the whole pushing towards the third temple, there's no third temple. Okay, you're misreading Ezekiel. And Jesus never once said, the temple must, he's like, you see this temple, everybody? Go read Matthew 24. Go read Luke 21. Go read, you see this temple? It shall be destroyed, and in 2,000 years from now, it shall be rebuilt, and then destroyed again, and then I shall come back. Guys, it doesn't say that. It says very clearly in the Bible, when that temple is going to be destroyed, the one in front of Jesus, and then the second coming of Christ will happen after the temple is destroyed. So there is no third temple. That's not what Jesus said. The temple shall be destroyed, rebuilt, and then destroyed again. It's not there. So, yeah, I don't get it. Nick Fuentes is, and I think just using, Ben Shapiro is a total stupid example.
If Ben Shapiro was taken out next, and God forbid, would Israel be behind that too? I mean, that would be equally ridiculous. If it was Ben Shapiro on Wednesday, people would be saying, Israel did it. Shapiro was about to become a National Socialist. Like, what? It's crazy. Anyway, so that just...
So you can look at anomalies and things, and who knows? They could have piggybacked some corporation, some group, some government. It could be Israel. I mean, you want to get conspiratorial? I'm not going to even go there because I don't think that's what happened, and it's unfair to introduce it. The obvious thing, if you want to look at Machiavellian stuff, well, it's completely obvious. People can't see it. No one's even said it. I just don't know what to say anymore. It's not Israel. But
Oy vey. So, I mean, Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes, not Israel. I mean, they're not even entertaining the idea. Look, in my last video, I said maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are right, and it's some just left-wing Antifa nut, some guy with the rifle, and the FBI is telling you guys the truth. The FBI wouldn't lie to you. Go back to sleep, America. Everything's fine. It's like, all right, you guys just do you. If you guys think that the story checks out, the rifle checks out, the guy checks out, all that. The FBI are great, honest guys. They're not there's no reason to steer you wrong. They've been telling the truth the whole time. All right, dealing with the race. So I got blasted for, I guess, some racial comments. I guess on both ends too. That's what's so funny. Is just like, I tried to defend black people a little bit. And it's like, because they're not, they are pushing a race war, and I'm not like the average black person in America right now. Like, I'm not defending their behavior or anything like that, but I do want to point out that they were created this way. They were programmed this way. There was a big propaganda campaign to turn them into what they are today. They want a race war. Okay. And we also have to look at things through the eyes of man and through the eyes of God. Like, as a Christian monotheist, as a guy who believes in only one God and that God is in full control, God is the one raising up these blacks to be a terror on us. God is the one sending in the immigrants. God is the one who put Trump and Biden and Obama in power. God is the one who gave the Jews this power to inflict damage on us. Because we're disobedient, evil little shits, is what the Bible says. We are out of control. We are bad people. We betrayed God after God blessed us and set us up high. And until we repent of our sins and turn back to God and say we're sorry and learn to love each other and sacrifice for each other and be there for each other and tell the truth even if it gets you killed. Until you can do that, don't cry. You know, we're going to talk about this later too when we get to, because we're going to talk about Afghanistan in a little bit. And I'm going to talk about my friends. You guys want to cry? Oh, these Muslims are in my country. Look at them. We went to their countries, these poor Muslim countries with trillions of dollars, not billions, trillions, and blew them up. Killed everyone in their government. Have the Muslims done that to us yet? Have they come to our country with bombs and tanks and guns and killed all our leaders and put puppet Muslim ones in? Oh, we did that to them. Why are we not judging ourselves and what we did? We're like, oh, these Muslims and they're building their mosques and all this stuff here. And yeah, I hate that too. I hate that too. I told my friends not to go to Afghanistan. I told my friends not to go to Iraq. I said, guys, our war is here, not there. No. They wanted their medals. They wanted their money. They wanted their Facebook shots of them holding rifles. Look at me. I'm playing Call of Duty. I'm in Iraq. I'm in Afghanistan. Some people went to war and joined the army for the right reason. But I'm sorry. I was there. Not in Afghanistan. I'm going to talk about that too. I trained a lot of guys who went to Afghanistan. I'm going to say most of my friends were narcissistic little shits who wanted medals and wanted to play soldier. Are you guys watching Sean Ryan? Are you guys watching all this Valhalla, Tim Kennedy, all this horse shit? The army has never been a bigger shit show than the drama queens that we call special forces. These people, my God, if anyone's been paying attention and watching like in the online soldier community, what's going on, it's like I don't hear special forces guys really talking about, hey, 9/11 was an inside job. Us special forces guys should maybe be coordinating and thinking about taking out our governments. They're like, no, I was in Afghanistan and I killed a lot of bad guys. And you guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. It's like no criticism of us going up and bombing these countries and paying to bomb Gaza and let's blow up Iraq and overthrow the whole government and let's create ISIS and kill more people and let's blow up Syria. Let's go kill Gaddafi and kill him too. Let's blow up Lebanon just because we can. But there's Muslims in Europe. There's Muslims in America. Yeah, no shit. Did they do to us what we did to them? I don't care if you're just a taxpayer. Your taxpayer is paid for those bombs blowing up their children. So, yeah, I hate the Muslims in our country too. I want Islam gone and erased. But I'm willing to repent and say sorry for our sins. We had no business in Afghanistan. We had no business in Iraq. We had no business supplying Israel. We had no business helping overthrow Gaddafi and destroying probably the greatest country in the world at that point was Libya. If I could choose to have lived in any country in the world during that time, it probably would have been in Libya under Gaddafi. That's fact. Prove me wrong on that one. Prove me wrong, okay? I'm gonna walk around like Charlie Kirk. Prove me wrong. Libya was the greatest country you could have lived in until we fucking blew it up. Right? Oh, but there's Muslims in our country. Well, yeah. That's what happens when you take your tax dollars and invest trillions of dollars and fly across the world and kill a bunch of people you don't know. But Saddam was a bad guy. Saddam was so bad. You know who's worse than Saddam Hussein? I love when soldiers tell me that. Oh, I was overthrowing an evil dictator. Well, have you been to America? There's this country called the United States of America. That flag you wore on your uniform when you were killing dictators. Maybe, just maybe, our leaders are the evilest, most dictatorial psychopaths, narcissists in the world right now. So you special forces boys who like to go, oh, well, I went and I killed evil Saddam and we had to deal with them Taliban and so you like killing evil people, right? You join the army to kill. That's what my friends all did. They all joined the army to kill evil people. Well, I know some evil people. They work in Washington, D.C. Yeah, they work on Wall Street. They work in Jerusalem. I can give you soldiers a list of some evil people. Will you go do to them as you did to Saddam? You guys make me sick, like, honestly. Oh, man. Muslims are the problem. Not the white Christian guys taking Jewish money to go blow up their countries and kill their children. Those guys. We're totally fine, guys. We're not the evil ones. Repent. We should repent for our sins and turn our ways, bring our hearts back to God. Right? And until you can do that, until you can tell the truth and accept the truth, as hard as it is, and you repent and change your ways and go back to God, God is going to keep flooding your country with these people. Because the truth is, all that Muslim Arab blood, there's Christians, there's Muslims, they're all, religion's not the thing. All those countries we blew up, their blood is on our hands. It's on our hands. Oh, you're complaining that the Muslims are here, are you? You don't like the Muslims here? Well, you know what you probably hate more than Muslims living in your country? Bombs blowing up your houses and killing your children. That might suck even worse. You know, a bunch of guys parachuting in with the world's greatest technology and equipment, just killing all your neighbors. That might suck more than a couple mosques across your street. Did you ever think about that? Not having food and watching your people starve to death. So you want to cry that mosques are being built in your home, which I don't like. But what about what we did to them? Stop supporting these drama queen army guys, Sean Ryan, all these douchebags that he's interviewing, all these ex Delta Force guys, all these Green Beret Tim Kennedy types. Any of these guys are just absolute drama queen losers. I have no respect for our military or special forces. Like, understand, like, God raised up the Assyrians to kill the Israelites. God raised up Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians to destroy the Jews. They were his chosen people, the blessed people that all the world were envious of. And yet, God destroyed them with foreigners. So when I see this monster Chinese army raising up, I see Russia rising up, I see how weak and divided we are. I see God is setting up the stage for our total destruction. And our only hope is that we turn around and repent. Right? So from the eyes of man, you can complain about the Muslims and all the Indians and all the Pajits coming in and all the terror, you know, that they're causing, which I'm not for. But I'm also looking at this through the eyes of God. And we are a wicked, evil, degenerate, disobedient little shit people that we don't deserve the blessings from God. We don't. Because we're not even willing to repent for our sins and our actions. You want to complain about the Muslims. Before you do that, my suggestion is you complain about yourself. You complain about your friends, your neighbors. You complain about your own people. And then you point at our sins. Right? Go look at World War II. What did we do there? Do you know how much blood is on our hands from World War II? Innocent blood. After World War II, what did we do? We built the Soviet Union, guys. We fully financed communism. That was done by the West. Everything the communists did, we financed. We may not know it, but you do now. And maybe we need to repent for all that stuff too. So, oy vey, long rants. My wife, who is half black, got offended when you used the term half-breed. I don't remember using half-breed in that video. It must have been another video I did. She's waking up to what they are, but being mixed. She's had people use that word against her as a pejorative. Well, that's going to happen. I get a lot of people slandering me too, and I'm a half-breed too, right? And I'm half Jew, so I mean, it's worse than being half black, I think. I know everyone here is on the spectrum, but we have to be conscious of our choice of words if we want to be successful in uniting the world's tribes against the devil's children. Yeah, I'm in total agreement, and I always speak like neutral towards blacks. I defended blacks in my last video, and that's why this guy's coming after me. I've had nothing but good experiences with black people, you know, growing up and stuff. My best friend, not my best friend, sorry, the guy I worked with, the guy who saved my life was a black guy, didn't have to. Smartest guy I ever met. Loyal to death, this guy. My second in command when I was a platoon commander in Army Cadets was a guy named Frank. And Frank was a black guy from Pickering. You know, we started off as rivals when we were younger, and then we got older. You know, he was my right-hand man, my 2 IC for my platoon. And I couldn't imagine not having him by my side, you know. I remember when I got my first paycheck as a little boy, like 10 years old or something, or 12 years old, I forgot exactly. And I'm on the bus, I just went, cashed the check, got on the bus, and on my way back, and I've got like $400 in 20s or something that the teller at the bank gave me, and I'm counting it like an idiot on the bus, and I get this giant black guy, gangsta rap, brap, brap, you know, comes and sits down next to me. And I look over at this guy, I got this wad of like $20 bills, and I'm just a little boy. And what does he do? He takes his monstrous hand and puts it over mine, where all that money is. And he looks me in the eye and tells me, "Kid," and he's like right out of a gangster movie, you know? This is the guy that pulls out a gun and robs you. And he put his hand around mine, and he told me to promise him that I'm going to put my money in my pocket right now, and that I will not take it out until I get inside my bedroom. Promise me. And then he explained that he's lucky, that I was lucky that he was the one who saw me doing that, and warned me that you never show that kind of money ever again in public. Ever, ever, ever. And it always stuck with me. You know, and I did exactly that, and wouldn't you know it, a couple weeks later, maybe a week later, you know, I had my white friend over who knew where I hid my money, and he stole it all. So it is what it is. Look, I am for segregation, and I'm also for race mixing. If you are in love with someone, I think there should be parts of the world that should be people who want to be in a race mixed society, you should go nuts. We live in a big world where you could do that. If you want to live in an all black area, an all Chinese area, I support that. I am down with segregation. You know, if you only want to create a black area and you can come visit, other races come for tourism or something like that. Okay, if we have an all white area, this is a white city, whites only. Maybe for tourism, you're allowed to come tour here. You can't live here, though. Why not? I think that's a great idea. So people who don't want a race mix, I fully support you. Now, I now live in an all-white Christian country, you know, and I moved to, you know, Ukraine, Moldova. It was also an all-white, and it was great, you know. But don't think, like, because you live in an all-white area, you're not going to be divided. You know, I'm French Canadian. I grew up in English Canada as a French guy. And so for me, a blonde hair, blue eyes, you know, I was the poster child for the white race when I was growing up. And I got the crap kicked out of me just for being a Frenchie. And then my friend Sean, well, not really my friend, but a guy I knew, you know, he was a English guy who grew up in French Canada, and we had the exact same story. Oh, did the French torture you when you were a kid? You know, the English tortured me because we were different. You know, when the Irish came to North America, they were slaves. When the Portuguese came, terrible story about the Portuguese. Portuguese came to Canada. They were given all the low-end jobs, just, you know, cleaners and construction workers and stuff like that. Then they eventually built, and now they own the construction companies. Now they own real estate. Portuguese should have been multi billionaires in Canada. And then what did the Canadian government do to the Portuguese after they built the country? Deported them all. Like 50,000 Portuguese were deported. Why? Because they stood to own some of the best real estate in the country. Okay? That's how we treat, fellow white people. And it was white people who did that to white people. Like, even like the Democratic left. Guys, like 40% of our white people, and I'll give you that it's mainly women on the left. Like, it's a huge percentage that are women. But our greatest enemy isn't even the black guys. I mean, don't get me wrong, black guys are being weaponized against us. I totally agree there. I'm going to put this on in the background. This is what black kids see. They're being pumped full of this brap, nigga, what? Yeah. Sorry, I'm not a rapper. I never got into it. Then they're pushed, then they show them all this, like, slavery stuff, like, get in there, boy. And it's like, this is what they believe the white race to be. This is what they're pumped full of. Can you blame these black kids, especially the low IQ'd ones, when this is all they know? All they've been, like, forced to watch is this is what white people do to black people. Oh, and look at the trash. Here's this, I forgot her name. Just Degenerate 1 and Degenerate 2 and Degenerate 3. Okay? And then, oh, look at the money, bling, bling. And now I've got the bitches and the hoes. And, like, this is what these kids don't stand a chance, guys. Monkey see, monkey do. All right? I feel bad for these kids. The propaganda we had growing up. I was raised on black TV shows like Family Matters, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Prince of Bel-Air was kind of like bridging. But if you go watch Steve Urkel, Family Matters, they were white black people. Do you know what I mean? Like they were like, we were interchangeable. The coolest kid in my class when we were growing up, the funniest kid I should say, was a black guy. The valedictorian for my elementary school was a Chinese guy. So, I mean, like, white people aren't racist. We're very welcoming. Like I said, the coolest kid in my class was a black guy growing up, in the 8th grade. And then valedictorian was an Asian kid. Everyone loved him. But there was like only one of them in the class. It was like 90% white people, and then you just had like these, like, one black guy, one Chinese guy. And now it's a mess now. But anyways, my point is like, they're weaponizing these blacks against us. These blacks have been pumped full of Jewish television, oy vey, evil white man, blah, 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 and gotta deal the crack cocaine, you gotta beat the Crips and the Bloods, West Side, East Side, like, I don't know what to say, like, I couldn't imagine being some low IQ'd black kid being raised on this crap, no father to beat me and set me straight, just some, black mother who's barely there, probably because she's working all the time. If she's on, and then if she's not, she's probably like, man, some of these black moms, yeah. Some of the moms just in general. But it would take a really strong character to survive this and then come out of it. I'm more focused on it's not the fire I want to put out. Because as soon as I put out this fire, they've already lit 10 more. I want the guys lighting the fire. I want the Jews and the Freemasons. I want the guys setting the fire. I don't want the fire. There's no point. By the time we put all these fires out, these pieces of garbage have already lit 20 more. If we don't stop them first, it doesn't matter. So I want the guys who program these black kids. I want the guys controlling the media who built this whole black culture. I want the CIA guys and the crack cocaine guys. That's who I'm interested in. Do you know what I mean? It's I feel bad for these black kids. And yeah, like Look, I'll always be a kike, to these people too. It's like, and you're a half breed. Unfortunately, you're just in a bad situation. There's nothing you could do. To the Aryans, I'll always be a Jew. To the Jews, I'll always be a goy and oy vey. And even though Jewish law is like, I'm worse than a goy. Like I'm a half breed monster to the Jews because my mother is an Irish French Catholic. Like when my sister was born, I'll never forget my aunt. When my mom told me, like my Jewish aunt, Holocaust survivor, my Jewish aunt, went up to my mom and not just my sister, but all of us, but it said that we all should have been abortions. Imagine that, you just give birth and your sister-in-law comes up to you. Your Jewish sister-in-law says, "Oh, your kids should have all been abortions." That was the greeting. That's what happened when me and my siblings were born. That's how my Jewish family reacted. Right? So it is what it is. So anyways, I feel bad for these black kids that were brainwashed and then weaponized against us, and I am far more geared towards getting the fire starters. I don't want to put out the fire just yet because there's no point. We have to stop these Jews and Freemasons from setting all these fires who weaponize these blacks against us when these blacks could have been weaponized for us. Do you know? And I'd rather find the intelligent black guys that can rein them all in, educate them, and exactly what he said, what Robert Palmer said. I know everyone's on the spectrum. If we want to be successful in uniting the world's tribes against the devil's children, we can either all kill each other or we have to find a way to work together and fight together. And I'm all for segregation, and I'm also for people who want to race mix. I'm not in a position to tell you who you can and cannot fall in love with. Wouldn't the world be great if we can control who we love and who we fall in love with? Wouldn't that be easy if it was like a switch you could just turn on and off? You can't control that, and I'm not going to tell you to control that. But you do need to be aware of what, if you do decide to race mix, understand the consequences it can have on your children, right? And but I mean, I'm not going to tell you who to love, who you can fall in love with, and whatever, But I support fully people who want to segregate, and I fully support people who want to race mix. I just think that this land is your land, this land is their land. Do what you got to do. All right, Irina Zarutska. So I'm getting yelled at for this. Okay, I think it's unfair to cast a shadow of blame on the Ukrainian girl, Irina Zarutska, under what I believe is a false assumption that she, not her roommate, had a Black Lives Matter poster in her room, where a photo of her poster was taken, which, even if true, would make no difference on how and why she died. Her racially motivated assassination needs to be advertised more than Charlie Kirk's assassination, as far as I'm concerned. These people only want to divide true ethnic national socialists while doing their best to keep the melting pot united. Yes, segregation is the answer. Without it, you cannot exercise the peace-type commands that Christ taught. A multicultural society cannot have that, and God always told his people to separate and be discriminatory in life. The acceptance of Jews, blacks, Hispanics, etc. in this nation has been its downfall. Dumb white people need to see this aspect. Two other such cases that same week, Texas and Florida, I believe. Oh yeah, some of the black crimes on whites is just so atrocious. It's so downright evil. Whites have to become racist if they hope to survive. You don't have to convince me on that. But just again, like what I was saying, I'm French Canadian. I grew up in English. I was tortured by white English people. There's always going to be the new black people. If it wasn't black people, it was the Irish. If it wasn't the Irish, it was the French. If it wasn't, do you know what I mean? It's like, even here, I live in the Balkans. Everyone here speaks the same language. Everyone here is the same. Well, that guy's Croatian, and that guy's Serbian, and that guy's Montenegrin, and that guy's an Albanian, and that guy's a Bosnian. And guess what? They all, for the most part, well, maybe not the Albanians, that wouldn't get me in trouble, but Croatians, Bosnians, Serbs, Montenegrins, They all speak virtually the same language. It's just dialect, and this one's Catholic, this one's Muslim, this one's Orthodox. They're the same people, you know. But they can easily. White has nothing to do. They'll kill each other tomorrow with the right propaganda. You know, for me they're the same people, just divided by religion and region. And all it took here was, you just need a couple guys to cause a couple problems, and then everything turns into a war zone. So, I mean, yeah. I'm just saying that even when you put yourself in an all-white situation, you're going to have problems. At least then it's not. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that you're not going to solve your problems. You're just going to shift. It's just going to shift. But yeah, the blacks, I think, are so bad because they've been purposely weaponized, right? They've been purposely weaponized, like I said, with all the propaganda, all this rap music and drug culture and all this stuff, right? And unfortunately, a huge percentage of the black population are, rather low IQ. But let's talk about the murder. Because this guy isn't responsible for the killing. It's like, how dare I say that? It's like, this guy's been arrested I don't know how many times. The guy's clinically diagnosed schizophrenic. The guy's got drug problems. The guy who should have been in jail, locked up, the guy who should have been in an asylum at the very least, the guy who shouldn't have been allowed on the streets was let go by this judge here. I forgot her name, Teresa something. I want the judges. I think that, who should be charged with Irina's murder? The judge. The judges, the legal system, the lawyers who let this guy go. Give them the death penalty. Give them a life sentence. There was a guy who just recently killed a judge, a sheriff. A sheriff walked into a judge's office. I think it's true. I hope it's not one of those AI-generated stories. This guy, from what I saw, went in to a judge's office and killed him because that judge was running a sex trafficking ring. The judge was running a sex trafficking ring using the women from the local prison. And they were raping the girls in the prison and threatening and using their power as judges and court officials and police. I think this cop's daughter was a victim somehow, and she ended up killing herself, and then he walked into the judge's office and just blew his head off. And it's like, well, great. It's like, what, are we going to get justice? Like, when the judges are all behaving like this, you think we're really going to get justice in the courts that they control? So again, my problem is with the guy setting the fires. Okay? I want that judge and the police officers that had this guy in custody 12 times and they just kept letting him go back on the streets. There you go, DeCarlos. We're sorry to bother you. Now go bother those people. I want the Jews who brainwashed this guy and the Freemasons and the politicians and the people who let black culture turn into what it did. Show these black guys, this is your massa, this is what the white race did to you. Do you know what I mean? I want those people. I want the judges and the lawyers and the politicians and the guys who brainwash this schizophrenic black man, gave him a pat on the back and said, you go do you. You go find those white people and terrorize them, you schizophrenic nut job. So, in my opinion, you can call this an assassination, but don't blame, and I think Jay Dyer blames this guy. Jay Dyer had a video I saw, and it's like, the death penalty is mercy or something like that. And it's like, all right, dude, I get it. I think if you're going to kill people in this fashion, it's a very simple solution. I don't even know if I'd waste a bullet. I think we got ropes for that. You can just keep reusing that one. And I think you need to hang these people in a brutal fashion in public. Those 4 black people that kidnapped, hijacked the white couple and raped both of them. Raped the man, and I'm pretty sure They forced the man to watch them rape his wife or fiance. And after they forced him to watch them torture and rape her, I think, and then they killed him, threw his body in a dump, and then they poured bleach. They raped him too. He got raped too. I mean, animals. These black people were just absolute animals, and those animals should be put down. That's it. It's not. Oh well, now you're gonna go to jail for you're gonna wait for 20 years. You're not. We're gonna give you a life sentence, and now we get to bill the taxpayers, $80,000 a year for you. It costs like, I don't know, 10 grand, maybe, to put one of these guys in jail for the year. Well, no, we're gonna pocket that 70,000. It's a business for us. They've turned crime into a business. That's why lawyers drive such nice cars, oy vey. It's all for sale. The law's for sale. Justice is for sale. They're the policymakers writing. It's our legal system is the problem. Okay? And it's the judges and the lawyers. And I felt good. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, when that sheriff walked in and gunned down that judge, like, it was like this weight was lifted off my chest, that it's like, wow, that's exactly what we need. Judges need to be scared. Right? Because the system is falling apart because of their injustice. And this is the proof. That young girl wasn't killed by this schizophrenic black man. She was killed by the judges. She was killed by the lawyers. She was killed by the prison system that profits off criminals being in their system, billing the taxpayers extortionary rates to keep them locked away and then just have them released, go commit more crime. It's a very communist thing to sick the mentally ill and the criminals on the people. That's the first thing the Bolsheviks did when they took over Russia. They opened the asylums, opened the prisons, and told them to go. And they attacked the people. You go to the streets of Montreal, you're going to get attacked by homeless people. And what are you going to notice about those homeless people who attack you on the streets of Montreal? They all belong in asylums like Carlos here, or DeCarlos, or whatever his name is. Get it? So if we had judges and lawyers and politicians doing their jobs, this guy wouldn't even be on the street to do that to her. So you can blame this guy all you want and give him the death penalty. All right, maybe. But while you guys are focusing on him, I'm going to focus on the guys who brainwashed him and the guys who could have stopped him and didn't and chose to throw him back on the street. Gave him all the right, gave him every tool he needed to go and do this. Do you know what I mean? I want the judge, I want the lawyers, I want the police officers, I want the politicians. I want the guys who own the prisons. That's who I want. That's who I want. I want them to hang more than I want this guy to. I want the guys setting the fires, and you guys are all talking about who? Oh, we gotta put out the fire, and I don't care about there's no point putting out the fire at this point. Let it burn. We have to stop the guys who are setting the fires first, and then we can come deal with the fires. Because by the time we put this fire out, they've already set 10 more. Okay? So, that's that. With Irina, look, I don't know if I already mentioned all this, but I had a Russian-Ukrainian girlfriend. I lived in Eastern Europe. I don't need to be educated on these girls. When my girlfriend first came from Ukraine, she was pro-Black Lives Matter, she was pro-gay, anti-Bible, anti-God. You guys are going to hear all these stories about, you need to find an Eastern European girl, and they're very holy and wifely and all this stuff. I'm going to tell you it's not true. They might be better looking because the food in Eastern Europe is still healthier, so the girls look healthier, but we have a global problem when it comes to women. Instagram, OnlyFans, all the porn stuff. Girls dominate the internet. They dominate the internet. If you want to be famous, you just have to dress slutty, wear extremely tight clothes that are so tight that it leaves nothing to the imagination, and film yourself on a motorcycle, film yourself on a scooter, film yourself trying bikinis on and off. You'll get tens of millions, hundreds of millions of views. It's ridiculous. Like, that's all a girl has to do to girls are just taking over the internet, and all they have to do is show their asses. Yeah, the girls in Eastern Europe, they're all pro-abortion. They're Ukrainians are pro Black Lives Matter. They're pro gays. They're pro a lot of them. There's been this huge surge. Any Ukrainian who says, no, that's not true, it is. I live there. I live here. I live in Eastern Europe. It might be slightly less. But there's been this huge, especially with the younger generations, they are very pro this stuff. My girlfriend in Montreal was a Russian Ukrainian. She was from Kharkiv. And she had gay flags up and the whole gay flag on her Facebook and Instagram. And she was a hardcore liberal. And then it wasn't until she moved to Canada and she got to see the gay community. She got to see the gays in action. She got to see Black Lives Matter and black people's. You know, she was getting off a bus in Montreal Nord. She was in northern Montreal. It's all black there. And she had a bunch of black guys surround her. Very beautiful girl. My girlfriend was stunning. And so she had a bunch of black guys surround her. You know, she took her lunch off or something to run to the accountants. She took a break and decided, you know, she had to drop something off or go sign something. I forgot something. Anyway, she had to go. Her accountant was in the black part of Montreal, and she got surrounded by a gang of black guys, and like this black guy, just an animal, just started got right into her face and started apparently licking his lips, you know, staring at her, and she's just surrounded by his goons. And she called me freaking, you know, and I'm just like, well, yeah, that's what you can expect, you know, if you go into those communities. Meanwhile, that would never happen to the blacks, you know, if they were to walk into our areas. You know, you're not going to have like a black girl going to get surrounded by a group of white guys like openly saying, we're going to rape you, honey. I don't know. If that did happen, I've never seen that happen. You know, black people walk very safely around our areas. I used to work in Toronto next to an area called Jane and Finch. And I used to go get my coffee at the McDonald's at Jane and Finch. It was a long time ago. I'm really old, so I grew up I was born in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s. I was working there, and Jane and Finch is a real bad area. It's a black area, and I loved McDonald's coffee, and it was the closest McDonald's that I had to go to get the coffee I wanted, so I went there. I was the only white guy in sight. I didn't care. I go in and order a coffee, and I can see the bullet holes that are in the glass. It's like, this doesn't happen in the white areas. Like, I don't have to worry about bullets. These people do, you know, but it is what it is, you know. So again, everyone, this the Carlos guy, he should have been locked up a long time ago. We had him. I mean, it's our law system failed, our police officers failed, our system is failing, and we've got black activists, black racists, pumped full of Jew propaganda judges who hate the white race. You know, there's more to it, guys, is all I'm saying. And you guys can hate me for saying that, but you guys can chase the Carlos. I want the guys who brainwashed him. I want the judges and the police who let him go, let him commit the crime. And I want to know, where are the asylums to not start housing these people so that normal people can live a normal life and actually contribute to society. And we need to find a solution for these people. All right? Anyway, so when it comes to Ukrainian girls, it wouldn't surprise me if she was pro-gay, pro-LGBT, pro all that crap. It took me 8 months to de-brainwash my girlfriend before she saw what the blacks were like in their community sense, what it's like to go to a black area and be like, well, this is what it's like. You know, it's not to say that all black people are like that. It's not to say that, there aren't good black people, right? Anyways, so I don't know what her stance was, and I wasn't blaming her. She's a poor girl who escaped a war zone, who had every right in the world to ride the bus. She was betrayed by the judges and the lawyers and the politicians, and also the people on the bus who didn't give a shit just what just happened to her. Guys, we're a degenerate, evil people, and when you read Deuteronomy 28, this is what you do. You go at home, after you're done listening to me, you pick up your Bible and you read Deuteronomy 28 from front, it's the largest chapter in the Bible. You go read that. And everything written in that book is coming true. It's the curses of Moses. the curses of Moses that are upon us right now. And it's prophecy coming true like clockwork. And until we can get our act together, expect these curses to destroy us. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not blaming this girl and saying, oh, it's her fault. She had a Black Lives Matter thing. I just threw that out there. All right? And she didn't deserve to die for riding the bus. But her real killer isn't the schizophrenic black guy. Her real killer are the judges, the lawyers, and politicians who let this guy go. And those are the people who need to hang. The people who stopped him and sent him on his way so he can go commit more crimes. Okay? Disagree with me. It's fine. You go put out the fire. I want to go after the guys setting the fires. Okay? End of days. So yeah, a lot of people are coming at me for this one. Do I have... Let me see. Sorry, I'm one of these guys. Here we go. All right. So to answer that question... how do you claim the Lord's second coming has already happened? That is the most wackadoo position. I'd be happy to debate that subject any day. That teaching is totally heretical. Well, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. You want to take the gloves off? I suggest you watch all my videos first, learn what I teach, and then ask yourself if you want to have a debate with me. Wait, if Jesus doesn't return a second time in the future, then what's the rest of the story of the Bible from your perspective? That's a fair question. So Christians are very big on the world exploding and everyone's got to die, and then the Antichrist has to come, and then Satan will have his child, and then Lucifer, the fallen angel that doesn't exist anywhere in the Bible, that guy, and then there's the Battle of Armageddon and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And then, Jesus will come down on his horse and wink and blink and I don't know. And then everyone will die. And 99.9% of the world will die, burn in hell for all eternity. And then Jesus sets up his millennial kingdom and reigns for 1,000 years with us on earth or something. That's not in the Bible. That's just an imaginary thing that Christians taught, pastors taught, Darby, like Schofield, rapture, Jews are Israel type thing. Number one, the Jews are not Israel. The Jews are Judah. They're not they don't hold the prophecy. They are not the chosen tribe. I mean, the chosen tribe, is like you can't get more clear. Let's see if we could pull this up here. It's like, now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given to the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel, and the genealogy is not to be reckoned with after the birthright. For Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler. But the birthright was Joseph's. Who's the chosen son? Who are the chosen tribes? Ephraim and Manasseh, not the Jews. But that's irrelevant. No one really cares. The Jews are God's chosen people. They clearly became many nations and blessed the world. When you bless the Jews, you obviously get blessed back. Because they're not the chosen people, right? Sorry. First, there's no millennial reign. Nowhere in the book of Revelation does it say that Christ will reign on earth for 1,000 years and we reign with him. I guess Christians believe in a material resurrection where Jesus will come down, defeat everybody, and then everyone gets thrown into the lake of fire for all eternity, and then Jesus is going to raise the Christians to life, and then we just party on earth. Like, it's very materialistic. Like, it's crazy. As a Christian, my hope lies in dying. When I die, I get to leave this god-awful world, and I never want to come back here. And when I die, my body's going to die, but my spirit moves on. That's where the new world is. That's where New Jerusalem is. That's what our hope lies in death. Our hope as Christians lies in death and resurrection. Why is everyone so bent on the material world? Why do you guys care about this wretched world and this wretched place where the better you are, the more good you are, the worse your life is? Do you know? And that's another thing with Charlie Kirk is, again, Charlie Kirk's a guy who served mammon. He served money and he served Christ. And you can't do that. And he was. You can't be friends of the world. Don't you know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Isn't that what the scripture says? And you're telling me Charlie Kirk, who's rubbing shoulders with the most powerful people in the world, getting millions and millions of dollars from these guys, oh, Christianity and Jesus is good and all this stuff. But it says, how are you, Charlie Kirk, doing so well, working for the evilest people in the world, cause all the problems in the world? Does Charlie Kirk ever talk about removing the Jews as our bankers? Does he ever talk about the Federal Reserve and why these Jewish criminals who run the Federal Reserve need to be rounded up and executed? Right? No, I don't think so. So that's it. I believe that the world is a life machine. God doesn't have to blow up the world. The world is a projector. It's a canvas where infinite stories and infinite possibilities can be told. I believe in one God and one creator. I do not believe in a fallen angel named a Greco-Roman God named Lucifer. Literally, Christians believe in pagan gods and they don't care. We as Bible believers, we are not supposed to believe in paganism. My book, I just wrote a book, okay? It's called Lucifer, the Myth of the Fallen Lord. How Christians were deceived into believing in a pagan god. Okay? Lucifer is a Greco-Roman god. He's the god Phosphorus. Okay? He's a Greek god that doesn't exist in the Bible. And he is the main star in the Bible somehow, even though there's not a single verse in the Bible that talks about him, his fall, his fallen angels, anyways. So, I'm a monotheist Christian, and I believe that the second coming, we're going to talk about it. But I just think that as Christians, we shouldn't be hoping for the world to blow up. We should recognize that the world is a life machine, and it's just a place where God can tell infinite stories, and just, that's it, you know. So number one, the Bible. Guys, I promise I'm gonna go over this whole presentation. I'm going to do it really quickly right now. I'll do this video, I'll tell you what, in the next week or two. Right? Does that sound okay? In the next week or two, we'll go over the book of Revelation again. I'll show you that it's a first century book. It could have only happened in the first century. So yeah, the Bible's going to take us through all the great kingdoms of ancient history. It's even if you don't want to believe in the Bible, the least you can do is you can read it, learn it, and at the very least, you're going to learn ancient history. And we're going to come to the Roman Empire. And we are the children of the Roman Empire. This Colosseum in the background that you see, do you know how it was built? It was built with all the gold from the Jewish temple. When the Romans destroyed the Jewish temple, it had more gold inside it than pretty much the whole Roman Empire combined. And they had so much money now because they destroyed the Jewish temple that Vespasian, the 10th Caesar, 10 kings of Revelation, took the Jewish gold and 20,000 or 30,000 Jewish slaves and built the Colosseum with it. So this Colosseum is a reminder of the book of Revelation, of the second coming of Christ, of the destruction of the Jews, of the crucifixion. This Colosseum, this big giant building that sits in the middle of Europe, was supposed to serve as a reminder to us about what went down in the first century. Okay? So who was the book of Revelation written to? Well, the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto his servants, which God gave unto him to show his servants things which must happen in 2,000 years. No, it says things that must shortly come to pass. And then it goes to say that, so John, he bears witness. Now this is very important. That who bear record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ and all things that he saw. This is going to be very important, because the martyrs in the book of Revelation are specifically killed because they were eyewitnesses to Jesus Christ. They lived to see him. That's who is being killed in the book of Revelation. The Jews are hunting down eyewitnesses, people who knew Jesus. That's who's dying in the book of Revelation. And what does it say here in verse 3? For the time is in 2,000 years. No, the time is now. The time is at hand. It's going to happen now. And then when we keep going, we see that John is writing to 7 churches of Asia. Well, those churches don't exist anymore. If this is a future event, John's a terrible prophet. Terrible prophet. Got it all wrong. Then it goes to say, behold, he comes with clouds. That's a Old Testament saying for judgment. So what John's saying there, behold, he comes with clouds. He's coming with judgment. Okay, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. Those who pierced Jesus are going to see him. Are you telling me that the Jews of today, they're the ones who pierced Jesus? The Jews too, that God is holding on a 2,000-year-old grudge, and that what does he mean by and they also will see him, those who pierced him? The Jews of that time, like, guys, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail, and that word earth doesn't mean earth. It could mean region, land, area, district, municipality. It doesn't just mean like the whole world. Okay, they didn't. I can show you, and I have it somewhere in this presentation where I do an example for the earth. Okay, so I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation. Okay, so John's our companion in the end of the world 2,000 years ago? No, it's about to happen. The day is at hand. To show unto his servants things must shortly happen. They which pierced them will see him come. And I, John, I'm in tribulation with you. I'm your companion during all this stuff. On the island of Patmos. Jesus said, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all these things be fulfilled. Oh, well, that obviously means this generation, which one? The one in 2,000 years or the one in front of him? They that pierced him will see him come. Okay? Heaven and earth shall pass away, my word shall not pass away. Heaven and earth is the temple. If you read Josephus, first century Levitical priest, worked at the temple, knew the temple, he will tell you, okay, the temple was heaven and earth. It's where God's throne, heaven, met with the earth. Okay, that's why it was referred to as heaven and earth, the heavens and the earth. The entire temple was built according to the cosmos. Okay, the temple was partitioned into different parts, where this part meant land, this part meant sea, and this part meant heaven. And the part that was heaven was inaccessible to man, only God was allowed to dwell. That's where God dwelt, and man wasn't allowed to go there, because heaven is not accessible for men. Okay, so heaven and earth shall pass away, and then if you read Matthew 5, not one jot, not one tittle from the Torah shall pass till all be fulfilled. That also anyways, we'll talk about that another time. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter therein. For these be the days of vengeance, that, what? All things written may be fulfilled. So when will all things written be fulfilled? When you see Jerusalem compassed with armies. That will happen in 40 years of Jesus saying that. Okay. Daniel says, and when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So when are Daniel's prophecies going to be finished? According to Daniel, all of Daniel's prophecies will be finished when God has accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, which happened in 70 AD when the temple was destroyed. All right, so when you read the book of Revelation 17, what does it say? Here is a mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits, talking about the whore of Babylon. The whore of Babylon is symbolic for the Jews in Jerusalem. The whore of Babylon is riding a beast, telling the beast to kill Christians and kill everyone it doesn't like. And then eventually, just like the Jews now, the Jews are riding us. We're the beast. We're doing everything the Jews want. And eventually the beast gets sick and tired of the Jews and kills it. Okay, so there are 7 heads. So the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the whore of Babylon, the woman, sits, and there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen. 5 are fallen, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are dead. 1 is, and guess what? His name equals 666. The Caesar under John, and John was writing in the 60s. How do we know? Because 5 kings have fallen, and one is whose name equals 666. And John, in Revelation, the temple is still standing. The temple is still there. John didn't say the temple was destroyed. John was writing in 90. Like everyone says, well, Revelation was written in 90. John would have been so old, number one. Number two, he mentioned nothing about the temple being destroyed. He mentioned nothing about the destruction of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is still standing. This book is about the destruction of Jerusalem. Okay? It's about the destruction of Jerusalem. 5 kings have fallen. One is the 6th, whose name equals 666 in Hebrew. And then what does it say? Okay? And the 5 are fallen, one is, and the other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short space. Well, guess what? The 7th Caesar, Galba, only reigned for 6 months. Nero reigned for either 13 or 14 years, and then Claudius ran for also 13 or 14 years. 113, 114. I always get them mixed up. I'm sorry. Caligula was like 3 years, 4 years. You know, Tiberius was like 14 years. Augustus was like 40 years. Caesar was, I don't know, 10 years before they killed him, maybe. They all ran a long time, and then Galba comes. Well, this guy's only going to reign a short time, 6 months. Boom, he's dead. And he's replaced with who? The 8th. And what does it say about the 8th? Okay. And the beast that was, Nero, the beast, whose name equals 666, who was, okay, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and then goes into perdition, dies, is killed. Otho was Nero's best friend, lover. They were lovers together. They also shared a wife. And when Otho took over, he brought back Neronian worship. He started Nero worship again. He started to finish the building projects that Nero didn't get to finish. And according to Suetonius, Otho started signing everything in Nero's name. So the beast that was 666, who is not, the guy who's the 8th but is of the 7, and then dies and goes into perdition because Vitellius is going to come and kill him. And then Vespasian's going to come and kill Vitellius. And he's going to destroy Jerusalem and the temple. And what does Revelation say? The 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Don't think the 1 hour is like a literal, they're only going to get 1 hour and that's it. Look, 5 of the kings are already dead. 5 are fallen, 1 is. What do you mean, that they're all going to reign together? Well, the one's going to go into perdition. That's not what it means. It's all symbolic. This is all, it's not a literal hour. Okay? It's not a literal beast. It's not a literal whore. They're not literal mountain the horns. Everything means something. Okay? They're going to reign for an hour for a short time with the beast. But they're not kings, but they have power as kings because Caesars were not kings. Caesars owned no land. They were imperator, emperor. They were the chief citizen of a republic. Okay? And they were given dictatorial powers for life after Julius Caesar. So, they are 10 kings that receive no kingdom as yet. They don't have kingdoms, but they rule as if they're kings. And they're going to rule over through the beast. And the Jews are the harlot, the whore of Babylon, who controls them. Does that make sense? And then when you get to the 10th, when you get to the end of Revelation, I don't know if I have it here. Might as well just pull that up here. You go to Revelation 17, the very end of the chapter. So now, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore, make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will, to agree, and to give to their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. And who is the great city that reigns over the kings of the earth? Okay, where is it? Maybe it's in 11:8. It's in 11:8, Revelation 11:8. And their bodies shall lie in the streets, talking about the dead prophets, in the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Gomorrah, where our Lord was crucified. So where is the great city that gets destroyed? It's not Rome. It's not Rome. The great city is where the Lord was crucified. Okay? And at the end of Revelation 17, and the woman which thou sawest is the great city, Jerusalem, okay, that reigns over the kings of the earth. Okay, it's Jerusalem, it's the Jews. No different than today. Everyone puts the pancake on their head. They go to the Wailing Wall. Oy vey. So anyways, I will gladly go through the book of Revelation and debate you, because I know that I have the way stronger argument. I know it. I know that Jesus and the apostles and the prophets all agree with me. You're the one that's going to be in trouble. Okay? More than willing. Okay? Even when we come to John, how does John end? Peter is arguing with Jesus. Then Peter turns around, sees the disciple whom Jesus loved following, John, which also leaned to his breast at the supper and said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth thee? Peter, seeing him, saith to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do? Peter's just got kind of blasted by Jesus. Peter knows he's probably going to his death for Jesus. And he's concerned. He wants to know what's going to happen to this guy, John, the one you love. What's up with him? Jesus says, if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to you? You follow me. Did you catch that? Did you catch what Jesus said to Peter? If I want him to stay until I come back, what's that to you? He's saying to Peter, pretty much, John is going to live to see my return. Peter, it's not for you it's not your concern. Most of the apostles are dead. They're going to die. They're not going to live to see Christ's return. John, the guy who writes the book of Revelation, will, because he's our companion for the tribulation. So either John's not dead and he's roaming the world somewhere. This generation shall not pass away. So there's obviously people still alive from the first century. Like, come on, guys. Come on. So anyways, we'll talk about this another time. I'll do a whole video on this. I got to redo this video. Oy vey. So yeah, anyways, I'm prepared to debate all that. Whatever. Charlie's not dead. Yeah, so there's some guys that are coming at me. They're like, I can't help but feel that this was staged. And I don't know. I'm not going to... I haven't really looked into it. For me, it's crystal clear it's real. Like, I mean, I don't believe you could have faked that. Not with those... Everyone would have had to have been in on it, I think. And if that was an actor, or... I don't know. I don't see the point in having him killed for no reason. And I don't think he's the last. I think they're going to start offing a lot of their people. Right? That's what Caesar did. That's eventually why everyone turned on Caesar, right? There's going to be a repeat of history, I really believe. Still on YouTube. How's this channel on YouTube? Oy vey, this channel exists on YouTube. Keep going. They're letting this based goy on YouTube. On YouTube. Kind of. Like, I think I'm really shadow banned. Guys, this channel has been up since 2019 or something. It's like 7 years old. I've got 3,000 subs. My first channel, I was getting like between 200 to 400 subs a day. I was getting 10,000 views the moment I uploaded a video. Like, and this channel started off so much better than my first one. When I did this channel again, I decided I'm not going to do anything controversial. I'm just going to stick to Bible study, nothing about Uncle A or anything like that, or nothing about World War II or the Holocaust, nothing like that. I'll keep it very PG. And I got most of my subscribers in the first like 6 months or something. Like, if you check the analytics, I'd have to check the analytics, but I'm pretty sure most of my subs were like at least 30-40% of them were within the first 6 months. And then the moment like I'm like, okay, my channel's going, I'm doing very well. It just went stagnant. Like, now it's like, for me to get like 5 or 10 subscribers in a month, it's like, yay, you know. And then what I noticed, some of my enemies, when I go check their analytics, you know, very interesting. Guys got 200,000, 300,000 subs, and then boom, you know, he gets 2,000 subs in a day. 2,000 subs in a day. That's insane. I've never even heard of that. And it's an even 2,000. You know, I'm like, how did he get 2,000 in one day? And then it just goes back to like, 5, 10, 20, whatever. But 2,000, And he's got all these spikes, these giant spikes, And then when he uploads a video, guess what? Only 10,000 people watch his video. And it's like, oh, dude, you got like over 250,000. You got like 300,000 people. Even if just 10% of your viewers watched your video, you should have at least 30,000 views. With like 300,000 and you got 10,000. Some of his videos have 5,000. It's like, how do you have that big of a following and you don't have any views? So I think a lot of their views are bought, paid for. They're not real, So at least when I upload a video, I get like 2,000 views, 1,000 views. I only got 3,000 subs, so I know like at least my views are real. Do you know? Like I don't have like 1 million people and only like 10,000 views on a video. Like that's weird. But when my videos, I'm getting 50% views. Some videos are overkill. They're like 200% views. So you know what I mean? That's okay. But I think that like there's something funny going on with my channel. I gotta clear this up. Whoa, hearing about your time in Afghanistan war made me tear up. I'm sorry you and everyone else had to go through that. Okay, so I was never a soldier, per se. I did not go to Afghanistan. I do not want to deal with any form of stolen valor accusations or anything like that. I was what you call a Royal Canadian Army cadet. And back in the 90s and early 2000s, it was like a junior army. I trained with the real army. I was trained on assault rifles, so pretty much 2 nights a week, Monday nights and Wednesday nights, I would go to the armories. I was trained by real soldiers, trained with the reserve units, and then on the weekends we would go to army bases, learn winter survival, but we were training with real military equipment, This rifle I'm holding here, this is me at 17 years old, yeah, and I think I was 18 in this one. Again, these photos are over 20 years old, guys. Like, I'm an old guy. This is me when I was just a baby here. I'm 17. Here I'm 18. Okay, so here we're parachuting. I forgot. I think this actually might be in the Netherlands. And this is probably annual inspection. Anyways, this is a 303 Lee Enfield rifle. This would probably be very similar to the rifle used to kill Charlie Kirk. This is the British Lee Enfield 303. This was my, we trained on this for drill. And we got to shoot them, of course, too. But they had just taken away our assault rifles. Originally, we were training on M16s and M4s, which in Canada we call C7s and C8s. I have a black beret, so I'm part of an armored unit, an armored reconnaissance regiment, and we trained more with the M4s, the C8s, the Canadian versions. But now at this point, they've taken away our assault rifles. I was the last serial of Army cadets that was trained on assault rifles. And then some stupid idiot Army cadet was mailing himself, I'm not even kidding, he was mailing packages home from summer camp. He was, I forgot where he was. He was Charlie Company. He was part of the marksman team, the international marksman team, and he was in Charlie Company. And I think he was in Petawawa, this guy. Anyways, he was mailing packages home from the army base every week. And during the summers, so we'd have to spend like 7-8 weeks on the army base during the summer. And then this guy, when they got, eventually like someone on the army base, when it's not, this isn't right. Our soldiers don't send packages home, they receive packages from home. It's like maybe once a summer very like 1% of cadets and soldiers will send packages home. Like what do we really have on the army base? You know, we want stuff from home. We want stuff that you can't get on. We got like canteens and mess halls and stuff. It's like a prison camp, you know? So the lady that was working in the post office clicked, you know? She's like, this doesn't make sense. What is this kid sending home? They went to his house. The military police, they figured it out. This moron was sending rifle pieces home, assault rifle pieces, M16, C7, what we call it, C7 pieces home. And he almost assembled. He had like 90% of an assault rifle waiting for him at home. And his mom was just leaving the packages on his bed every time it got sent home. His mom had no idea what he was doing. So because of that idiot, and then another idiot who didn't discharge his rifle properly, they started being like, so one cadet tried to mail himself home an assault rifle. One cadet blew his foot off, blew off his toe. One idiot blew a hole in the safe that we put the rifles in. We store the rifles in. So there was just like, as we became more degenerate and more corrupt and evil, the army was forced to take away our assault rifle privileges. We lost them. We abused, when you're trying to mail yourself home a rifle and you're blowing off your toe and you're blowing holes in the vents, the safes, it's like, okay, so eventually the army had to say, these kids are mentally retarded. They're not the kids from the generation before. They are not fit to be trained on assault rifles. So we lost them. So now we're training with Lee Enfields. But yeah, I mean, at 17 years old, I had jump wings. So by the time I was 18, I had 3 sets of jump wings. So these are my buddies. So I was an army kid. I never went to Afghanistan. What happened with me was at 19 years old, two things happened. My girlfriend at the time died in a car accident, and then I found out 9/11 was an inside job, and I was also very angry at the Canadian military, because of my experience that what I went through in cadets. So I was a cadet, but because I did parachuting, that you do with the real army. So I was a fully trained soldier in a sense. And that was just because I was a cadet who then went off and trained with various airborne units. And by the time I was 21, now you end Army cadets at 19. Well, I'm going to tell you a story in a second. So just so you guys understand. No stolen valor. I never went to Afghanistan, never went to Iraq. All my friends did. All my friends, this is my best friend. Kid's the guy that was blown up in Afghanistan. And here we are as kids together, I'm like 18, he's 16, about to turn 17 or something. And this is my Ukrainian friend. He was actually a really, really good friend. I don't know, but I lost contact with all of them. I didn't agree. I thought 9/11 was an inside job. And, And so I didn't join the army. My attitude was I wanted to be a soldier, but we have to fight our government. The war's not in Afghanistan. The war's not in Iraq, guys. Our war is here on home soil. And they were like, nah, we want to play Call of Duty. We want our Facebook photos. They were too invested in the army. They weren't willing to walk away from it. One of my friends had gone off to military college. And the rest of my friends are either joining the infantry or joining the police. And there was a bunch of my friends became pilots. They were air cadets that I worked with. And there was just no persuading them. I became an enemy. I became a problem. And so I went down. I fought the war on the home front. I started becoming a documentary maker, trying to expose 9/11, try to expose the banking system. Banking system was my big one, and it was by doing that I became a Christian, and now I'm studying the Bible, and I'm realizing that, oh my God, it's the Bible is what we have to focus on. It's a religious war. It's a propaganda war on your mind, and God is the one in control. God is the one orchestrating all of this stuff. And until we get right with God, we're on a collision course. So that's it. So now when I turned, I think it's 21, I had a lot of British friends that I met parachuting when I was parachuting in Europe. And they really liked me. They liked me so much that they called me up and they're like, hey mate, there's a room, we need another jumper, there's a position open, we're all going to a joint training exercise with Slovakians, Polish, Germans, Italians, all these NATO countries are coming together in Slovakia. Please, we'd really like to come, we have an extra spot for you. I explained to them I can't. Legally, I cannot wear the uniform anymore. I've been out of cadets for 2 years. I would need permission from, I'm not, it's just not possible, And they said, well, we're going to call you back, right? And so they called me up and they presented this idea to me. That's why I'm in British uniform here. And they're like, well, listen, we want you to come. We don't think it'll be a problem. No one will know you're not a soldier except for us, and the position's open, and we really like to see you. These were just guys I became really good friends with, drinking buddies and stuff when I was parachuting, and they just really wanted me to go with them, and to the point where they're like, just come to England, get your ass to England, and once you're in England, we're gonna kit you up, we're gonna put on a uniform, and they're like, there's no way in hell any of those guys in Eastern Europe are gonna know you don't belong with us. And I thought about it, and he's like, you know what, you're right. So I don't know if I broke any laws here, because technically I shouldn't have been in uniform, but I couldn't say no to this parachute competition, this parachute jump course. It was like a dream course, because this is me training with, this is a colonel from Ukrainian Spetsnaz, Ukrainian Special Forces. And so he runs like I forgot the name of the parachute unit, but and some air assault, Ukrainian Special Forces air assault unit, and I got to parachute with these guys, and I got my Ukrainian Special Forces jump wings, right? And then this old guy here is, I forgot his name, Jim, I forgot his last name, but he's wearing a 1st Canadian Parachute Regiment Battalion 1 Canberra cap badge. He's got golden parachute jump wings, and if you saw his sleeve, it's riddled with U.S. and American badges. What this old man is, who he was, he is the father of all modern day special forces. I'm pretty sure he was part of something. He was either part of the Devil's Brigade, if they're very famous, they're the fathers of special forces, or he was. I don't remember if he was like the first batch or the second batch. This was a long time ago. This was itself was like 20 years ago almost. So, I'm now like with this legend, and this old man is parachuting with me. Like, he's in the stick with us, I'm jumping with a guy, and he was so famous. Like, I couldn't believe, like, I saw the guy at the airport, and I just thought he was some old man. And I was like, why is this old guy jumping with us? Like, who's this guy? And then he comes out the next day. We get to the Army base and all this stuff. We get to the Air Force base, and then the next day when we're all now in uniform and stuff. This old man comes out, and I just see all the badges going down his sleeve, and I'm like, who is this old guy? Like, now it's like, and still in his 80s, the guy was still parachuting with us, keeping up with us. He wasn't doing the physical fitness with us, but I mean, if he was 20 years old again, I'm sure he'd kick the crap out of all of us. But I got to jump with this guy with the Ukrainian Special Forces, and then this old guy, Jim, I forgot his last name, but he's the OG. He was trained, I think, with, I think by not SAS, Special Operatives Executive, the SOE, and I forgot the name of the guy who created the special forces in Montana. Anyways, the point is, it was a hell of an experience. And I did so well on this course. I was like the second best. I ended up being the second best. I ended up killing all the Brits. I destroyed the Americans. I destroyed everybody. Like, I was so proud of myself because I wasn't in the army. I'm training with all these airborne units, and I just happened to be so fit at that time in my life, from boxing and swimming, and I was very physically active at this point in my life. I was working out like 20, 30 hours a week, like it was insane. Between at least 20 hours a week I was working out, at least. Only one guy destroyed me. It was a German guy. His name was Matthias. I forgot his last name. And he was a machine. I'll never forget him. Because when I say he beat me, it's not like he beat me by a little bit. It was the other way around. I beat everyone else by a little bit. Matthias beat us all by a lot, and I'll never forget one night. We're all probably drunk in the airplane hangar after a night of training or parachuting. I don't remember like when, but I'll never forget the conversation. You got one Canadian, you got me, you got two Americans, and then you had three Brits, right? And there was Matthias in the corner of the hangar, within earshot of us, just smoking a cigarette, minding his own business. But you got pretty much the Normandy beach. You got the Canadians, the Americans, and the Brits, and they just start cracking all these evil German jokes and stuff. And there's Matthias, the German guy, and he's just sucking back the cigarette, listening to us, right? And we're just, I'm just laughing, and the Brits are telling their jokes, and the Americans are laughing, and then we all go away. And then I stick around and I walk over to Matthias. They all go back to their bunks and stuff. And I walk over to him and I tried to brush it off. And I'm like, hey man, don't take the jokes and the humor too personally and blah, blah, blah. And he did. I mean, they were World War II German jokes. And this lieutenant, and he was amazing. Like, he was so intelligent, and he was like the perfect soldier, and he just sucked back that cigarette and listened to what I said, and he looked at me in the eye, and he's just like, no, he wasn't looking at me in the eye at this point. He was looking straight ahead, smoking his cigarette. It was something like a scene out of a movie, and he just said, you do not understand the German people, and then you don't understand what we went through and what we were fighting for. And you got to think, this is like 20 years ago, so I wouldn't be Jew-pilled for a while. And then he looks over at me, and I'll never forget the look in his eye when he looked over at me. I'll never forget when I became Jew woke. Because the moment I realized what really happened in World War II, what really happened with Hitler and all that stuff, what really happened at Auschwitz and the whole narrative and how everything's a lie, what was really going on in the Soviet Union, I was instantly teleported back to this moment on this Air Force base. I don't know, it was in Slovakia or something. And in that hangar, half drunk, remembering the words of that German lieutenant, the only guy who destroyed me on this parachute during this parachute training, and he knew, he by law could not defend himself or his people. I'll never forget. I knew instantly that this guy knew the truth about World War II. He knew the truth about Hitler. He knew the truth about the Jews. He knew the truth about absolutely everything. The one guy who destroyed me on this course. And I wish I could find this guy again. I really do wish I knew his last name, or I kept his email or something like that, because I know. I now, that moment in my life clicks. It makes sense now. Finally, it took years, like over a decade, for me to make the connections. But so there's a picture of me. This is actually the German army. This is in the United States. This is getting our U.S. parachute wings. This is German Fallschirmjäger, and yeah, that was me. I think I was 18 at this point. Yeah, 18 years old, and that's my buddy Daryl. And you can see like we're wearing like the old here, like the old Vietnam style combat uniforms. It tells you how old this is. Oh man, I'm an old man. Okay, so the next one, not a traitor. Oh, so this is a new one I just got. So here's a guy. So as a preterist, I agree with you biblically. However, calling the Kirk types traitors is kind of over the top, unless you just mean ideologically. He stood up for truth and righteousness, but I agree, was terribly misguided on Israel. This does not make him a traitor. It makes him part of brainwashed Christianity. However, the guy was still very young. G at just 31. He still had a lot of maturing to do spiritually and biblically, and it seems at least somewhat on track. I just don't know. Like, the guy is playing the whole right-wing, left-wing agenda. He's pushing the whole Jews are God's chosen people. You need to bless them. You need to love them. I don't know how he could serve two masters. How did he not read the Bible when it says that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Did he not read where it says that you can't serve mammon and God? You can't have your elbows on two tables. Like, I don't know. I don't know if he was 100% out for truth. Okay, my parents are strong Israeli supporters. They are Protestant. They are Reformed Protestants. But 100 years of Zionist pastors spreading these falsehoods and Christian authors with all their books is very difficult to study your way out of unless you're dedicated. Even J. Dyer and Catholics are not Zionists. Still hold a revival of the Jews to Christ and the end times. So even they are also part of our opposition when it comes to the true message of Paul and Christ. The problem is these people are unwilling to honor Scripture at its face value, and they all add things to the text that aren't there. Yeah, amen to that. And when you try to help them learn, who are we? Just a few heterodox radicals with minority views. People simply don't care enough to study enough. Sad but true. Well, I agree with everything you're saying. I would just say that I don't know what was going on in Charlie Kirk's mind or in his head or anything like that. So, anyways, that's that. Time will tell, right? Time will tell. And it doesn't change the fact that it takes an enormous amount of courage to be in his position and speak the way he did against the people who were feeding him. Do you know, the people paying him those millions? And so while he made all that money and stuff, there's no taking away from the guy that, you know, I don't think he thought that would happen to him. No way. And his death is going to do a lot of great things. And so this guy too, Pangu Lu, if Charlie is a traitor, then we are all traitors, or were traitors at some point in our lives. In the eyes of God, Reuven, whether it was to Jews, to atheists, to pornography, to drugs, to other vices, do you think it matters in the eyes of God? They're all treacherous acts before God, and he abhors these things. You can claim that he bit the hand that fed him from a human standpoint, but the truth is the Lord chose him for this moment, and he bit no one's hand, for the Lord provided these things to him so he could push further. Charlie simply fulfilled his role. People claim that he was groomed by the Israelis Jews. Nah, he was not. Do not give the adversary, I'm going to translate that word, don't give the adversary credit for something that is far greater than them. He was prepared and groomed by God. From his adolescent years, God bestowed the gift of wisdom, the gift of debate, the gift of charisma, and instilled his gentle spirit in Charlie because he was preparing him to open people's eyes, to cast the net, to bring people close to God, and to bring him back, and to bring back those lost sheep that have strayed off. This is undeniable. You even admit this in the video, that he had an amazing life. For what other man has been able to achieve this in our contemporary milieu? To rub shoulders with the world's leaders, to speak and host large events one by one. Key figures in the Trump administration are admitting that they were greatly influenced because of him, and give credit to him for their positions in government. Example: Robert Kennedy taking on HS. Okay, yeah, and there's more. It's like actually much longer. What I did see is a miracle come out of this. After the murder of Charlie, I saw atheists, Gnostics, Christians who had lost their way. So many people I never would have imagined seek after God. Millions of people had the urge to seek the Lord, to go to church. Tell me, Reuven, what other man's death can inspire millions of people to go to church and seek Jesus Christ? Yours, mine, some other politicians. Call him whatever you like, a traitor, controlled opposition, whatever. It doesn't matter. We will all be judged, and we'll all answer to Jesus when the day of judgment comes. For to me to live in Christ is to die is gain. Well, not gonna disagree with you on a lot of that stuff, and I'm pretty sure, like, I'm on the fence. I don't know. I think that time will tell. I think it was extremely brave for him to do what he did. I think they did kill him. I think they had to kill him. I think there's more to the story that's left to be told. We don't know what was going on in his private life, his private conversations, and all those things. And it's 100% true. I had a girl here when I first moved here. I met a girl, young girl, but very smart, law student type. And she was maybe 20 years old at the time. I think she's 21 now. And I met her at a cafe. And she was friends with some of my friends here. And then we got into a huge argument over liberal stuff, abortion stuff. And so Charlie Kirk and me would share a lot of the same views. Where we would argue is on race issues, and where we would argue is, like he said something like, what it makes America is the Constitution, not the people, not the blood, not the citizens. It's the piece of paper. And if you take that piece of paper and bring it anywhere in the world, it'll become the greatest country in the world. I disagree with that. I disagree with him on his views on religion, on the Jews, on the end of days, on all this stuff. And I think that is, they've weaponized Christianity. People who say Christianity is a Jewish psyop, it is. The version of Christianity that Charlie Kirk believed in and pushed was a psyop. So, he did serve the enemy. He served Mammon. But that's not to say that you're wrong. Like that he's part of the machine, but it doesn't mean that, again, God is always destroying from within. So just because Charlie Kirk, was in the clique and was brought up by these guys and made a millionaire, the guy didn't have to say what he said. And his death converted even this girl that I was last year when I moved here. The girl was fighting with me. We're arguing in the bar like cats and dogs. And then right after he was killed, she remembered all the Jew stuff I said and Hitler and all this stuff that I said. And then the night was so monumental. It was such a big deal because she's a very popular girl in our city, in this area. She's a very famous girl. Everybody knows her. She comes from a very important family, I guess you could say. And so that night after he died, the Saturday night, so I'm not sure, I forgot what day he was killed on, but shortly after, I ran into her. We're all with our friends. I hadn't seen her in like 3 or 4 months at this point, and she actually shook my hand, and they took a picture of it because she now fully agreed with everything I said to her 1 year ago, and has completely turned, and even went as far as to say we need Hitler back. And it had to do with all the Israel comments and all the Jew comments that Charlie made before he died, and then him being assassinated the way he was. So he's going to do far more damage in death. And I do believe the hand of God is all over this. And I'm not saying Charlie Kirk is burning in hell for all eternity or any nonsense like that. I think Charlie Kirk is very much with the Lord. And I'm sure that Charlie Kirk is looking down at all of us and not regretting for one moment the way anything went down. I believe Charlie Kirk was definitely in bed with the wrong people, but I don't hate the guy. I think it's all in God's hands, right? And that God is going to use this in a great way, right? All evil at the end of the day goes to serve the glory of God, to serve the good, okay? So look, I'm not in a disagreement with you. Isaiah says, but we are all as unclean things, and all our righteousness are as filthy rags. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. This is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptation, that Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am chief. For there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not. Okay, so I think that's where we're gonna stop. It's already ridiculously long. So guys, I'm not claiming to know everything or have all the answers. Maybe Israel didn't kill him. Maybe it was just some nut-wing Antifa guy. Charlie Kirk maybe was a traitor and then wasn't. Maybe he never was. Maybe he knew the whole time. Maybe he didn't know. A lot of this is speculation. Okay? But I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, all this evil will go to serve the good, the glory of God, and the truth will eventually come out. You know, there was a lot of things that happened with the Qatar bombing. You know, while after Charlie Kirk was killed, you know, they're bombing Qatar. Israel is just out of control. Netanyahu is out of control. The Senate also voted not to release the Epstein files. While all of this is happening, we're focusing on Charlie Kirk. So there could be much more to the story, and there could very well be multiple Israel Jewish factions. Okay, that's another thing to consider. And that while Charlie Kirk was still pro-Israel, maybe he was just anti-Netanyahu. Do you understand? I'm completely anti-Israel. Doesn't matter which faction is in charge. I'm against them rebuilding the temple. I'm against all this stuff. So just because he was he claimed to never have been anti-Israel, he could just be anti-Netanyahu. And don't think for 1 second that the Jews are just all singing Kumbaya, all united. Do you know what I mean? He could very well be anti-one faction. And like I said to you before, during the siege of Jerusalem, the Jews were divided into 3 factions. It was the Jews who killed their own provisional government, killed their own priests. It was the Jews who burnt their own food supplies and killed their own people. It was the Jews trying to take out the Roman siege equipment that blew up their own wall and let the Romans in. It was the Jews who let the Edomites in, who came in and raped and killed like a third of the city, or 20%, killed anyone loyal to the provisional government, killed the priests. The Jews turned on each other and brought destruction upon themselves. That's how it happened. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for the donations that I've received, and truly, you guys really saved me. I'm not in the greatest situation where I'm at. I know times are tough right now. I'm going to try to have new merch up this week, and then if you want to donate, the link's in the description for the Give, Send, Go. In next week, I'm going to announce the winner if he wants me to announce who he is, and I will send out the Third Reich necklace coin, Jew-free money, a coin that represents a much more prosperous and happier time. So it's a coin necklace that I made. I have one more of these, so I'm going to do this again next month. We'll do another one, and then I have an American one, an American dime with a fasci on it. We can do that one after. And then I think I also have a coin from Emperor Constantine, and then I got one from, I think, Vespasian, and then Nero. And they're real Roman coins from those times, so maybe I'll give those to the next top donators. All right, so that ends this chat. I'm going to try to upload some Bible lessons next. If there's anything I forgot, you guys can remind me. Anyway, so that's about it. Anyways, you guys can always shoot me a message if there's something you want to talk about. If you guys have any questions or stuff, we can do a Q&A. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think I'm going to end it there. So anyways, God bless you all. Wish you guys all the best. And hope you guys are well.